Yes.
250 people. I mean, that's for Flat Rock, or I keep saying Flat Rock for
Yep.
St. John Emmanuel. That seems like a really good turnout.
Yeah, because last year we had 174 and we went up to the 250. So,
Fantastic.
yep.
And that was at the Eden, is that right? How do you like that facility?
I like it. That's the one that's formerly Coyote Hills. So a nice big open space.
Hey, Kathy. You are muted.
Hello.
You get fined $5 or an auction item.
I have printing going on at the same time, so
okay.
It's a little loud in here.
Because your event's still coming up, is that right? Here soon?
2 days, yep, Friday.
Oh, who's counting?
Yep, that's right.
All right, we have it's 11:03, but I know we have a couple people that are going to be coming late. Oh, Don says, I'm not able to talk this morning, but I'm here. Okay, must have been yelling at somebody, huh? Too loud. You lost your voice. I get it. We have 12 people signed up. 2 people said they're going to be coming in late, so I said we would trash talk them until they got on. So that would be Ashley from Evansville and Scott from St. Peter's, Columbus. Take a look. Who else here? Otherwise, we'll get moving along. We're all busy, either getting ready for an auction or finishing up an auction.
John, I got to show you how cute these turned out.
Okay.
For our alumni. So it's a little dessert shooter. They're not shot glasses, they're dessert shooters. So that has our thing on them, but so this is what we did for chocolates.
Oh, nice. I like it.
This is thank you to the SGO, and then this is a QR code to the SGO.
Oh, very nice.
So each person gets 2 of those. So that we're kind of excited about that. Our alumni loved that last year, so they're excited. We actually have like 20 more alumni signed up this year than we did last year.
Fantastic. That's what I like to hear. Now, did you print those yourself, or did you have a company?
We printed those and then taped them on the little chocolates. Yeah.
Nice.
Sometimes it's just easier and quicker to do it yourself than to figure out how to outsource things. So
I understand. Yeah, that's nice. I remember at an LEA convocation or conference or something that one of the Concordian Arbor or something, they made a candy bar and they put their own wrapper on it, and you know where the ingredients were, it was leadership. It was a really neat idea. So I like, I think people appreciate that because they obviously know what it is by the shape, right? Because that's part of the brand, right? But no, that's nice. Thank you. That's good to have.
I think they'll like them.
All right. Well, let me see here now. Yeah, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have like 12 people signed up, but we have 4 of you on here, so we're going to get started. Well, we got 3.5 since Don isn't talking. I'll just he can yell at me on the meeting chat. But well, I wanted to see if is a special event cohort needed, right? Well, maybe if I send everybody a reminder real quick, and then we'll get back to get started. I know there's some people on here that aren't usually part of our 12 at 12. They may have forgotten today. So I'm going to do that here real quick, and then we can get back.
So Amy, what event did you just have? Was it your dinner auction?
We have our Tiger Night. It's always the Saturday. This is only our 4th one. The Saturday of Lutheran Schools Week. and we did phenomenally, especially for a really young event.
Yeah.
We're still trying to get people out of the what can I get for a bargain mode.
That's hard.
So
No,
yeah,
it's really nice because I remember several years ago when Axel was still there, he tried doing, I don't know what they were, like prom theme.
Yeah.
And people were there just for a party. They just
Yeah.
wanted to have a good time, maybe pick up a couple car washes at a good price, you know, a deal.
Yep.
But he kind of said, I'm out. And you know, he, which is good or bad, I know he kind of said, okay, we're out. So it was so nice to hear that you were able to take up the mantle and you've been able to, again, it does take some time to build up, but you know, for a K-8 school out in the middle of the cornfield or with 2 locations to get 250 people, that's pretty good.
That's awesome.
Hello, Barb. I think I see your eyeballs there.
Fine. Yeah. Sorry, I had somebody stop in who wanted to tour the school for prospective student for next year.
Oh, no problem. School comes first, especially when it comes to tours, right? I mean,
yeah,
I like to think fundraising is the most important thing at schools, but it really is enrollment. So you got to get, you know, you get a lot more money per child than you do from a donation, right? So it depends on the donation, but all right. Well, thank you. We got a couple. I know we have a couple people that are coming late, but it was suggested that we kind of start this group back up again. We kind of gave up on it during COVID, right? When nobody was doing events and but when we did it in Fort Wayne, we would gather together. And the idea was, hey, what are you doing? Hey, what are you doing? Hey, we wish we could do this. Who's done it? And here's, you know, at the time it was this new idea called online bidding was the thing we were talking about, right? Who wants to do it? Who doesn't want to do it? What's the problems you had with it? You know, things like that. And so I just wanted to see again, is there an interest? Was there an interest? I mean, again, we had 12 people said, yeah, we want to do it. I mean, I know we announced it kind of quickly, but the idea is maybe we can do this, you know, several times a year just to connect with other K-12s around the state. And what, you know, again, we're not competing. I mean, we all, even schools that are 5 minutes away from each other have a different group of people that are coming. And sometimes it's the same people. I know the Rumkeys went to your event, Amy, and they go to 3 or 4 other events. So it's okay that we share some information. So I'll just go around my circle here. But Amy, you're with St. John Emmanuel in Monroeville, Northeast Indiana. Donald is with South Bend or Resurrection in South Bend. And I'm not sure you guys have, I know he's done a golf outing, but I don't think they've done a full event yet. Well, I know they did one early on, but long before Donald is their full-time fundraising director now that they hired this year. So it's kind of a new position. So glad to have him with us. Kathy is with Lutheran High School in Indianapolis. They have their event on Friday. So she looks like she's thinking about something else. She is. She's got her big event. And Barb is with Lutheran South Unity School. She's their part-time part-time admissions director. And her husband is helping with the fundraising. So together they both kind of help out with their events that they try and do. There's called Let the Children Come. Now, Morgan, tell me what school you're with.
St. James Lutheran in Lafayette, Indiana.
That's right. Thank you. You're at St. James. Now, have you guys done an event in the past?
For fundraising, we have our annual auction. We've had golf outings, that kind of thing, but the auction is run by a volunteer group. And they kind of get to allocate those funds and they really work hard, and our families earn, I guess you would say, points to like benefit them and then their tuition.
Oh, no, that's interesting. Could you tell me more about that?
Okay,
So
so
if the
if
parents
they
get involved,
volunteer,
okay.
they get a point or whatever, they need to earn up to like 100 points. So that's money dollars. They say, they donate a gift card. Like I have 4 kids, so I donated $25 for each kid's gift cards. And then like I volunteer in the school or I do something for the school and we keep a list of that and we turn that in. And then those families benefit from the Crusader scholarship from the auction. And so then like I would receive $500 per child for the next school year.
Interesting. I've never heard of that before. So that's how
Yeah.
you get parents to get involved,
Yes.
either by volunteering, donating, or whatever, because they turn around and earn points, which then can be you. Oh, that's it.
Yeah, time and talent is kind of our, push there. Like, can you give us your time? Can you provide your talent? That kind of thing. And then they kind of keep a list of that. And so, yeah.
Okay, well, I just had never heard about that before, because I know, well, in fact, at Lutheran South, Maurice used to be there. He would always say, we can't get the parents to come and help out at Johnny Appleseed or anything like that. And I wonder if that point system would have been kind of a neat idea to do that. That's, all right. Well, thank you, Morgan, for being here and sharing that with us. Here comes Aaron. Aaron is with Trinity Lutheran High School down in Seymour. So we wanted to get this group back together to see, again, is there an interest to share time and talent, right? I didn't know if down the line, if it's worthwhile breaking out into golf outings and galas, because obviously there's some commonality as far as what you do, but they're different beasts, right? I mean, you're talking about mulligans on one and you're talking about, live auctions on another one, right? Sometimes there is overlap. Now, does Lou High do a golf outing? They do?
Yeah, so we do. So it's typically, so in the past couple of years, it's been several years probably, it's been in August. I'm trying to switch that to June this year, which just to balance our personal school calendar better. Yeah, so I have a lot of learning to do in terms of golf. Like we raised over $9,000. We did fine on it. Everyone had a good time. We had one of the highest participant levels ever. But I think there's a lot of ways that we can increase our golf outing. So that's something I really need to work on next. Next week.
That's next. That's after Friday. Hello, Aaron.
Hi.
You guys do a golf outing down in at Trinity?
We do. It is a memorial golf outing. So we've had a different individual that has handled it. So I have not been involved with that.
Okay. Now you're like, good, right?
Yeah. Not my baby.
Well, when I did a golf outing at a hospital association and a university, I didn't know anything about golfing. I had to learn what a mulligan was and skins and all this stuff. And I tried playing and embarrassed myself. So I said, okay, I'm not going to play. People like Barb's husband is a big golfer and he started golf outings. I know it's sometimes at events, but something
he's done so many, he's been in charge of so many golf outings.
Exactly, he has. And something you guys said though, I think was it you, Kathy, or is it Aaron, that said, yeah, we made $9,000. I asked, is a golf outing worth the time to only raise $9,000? That's what scares me the most, is something that takes so much staff time, so much volunteer time, and you're raising $9,000 in that case. Now, when I was at a hospital, I got it up to raising, making $40,000 or $50,000 20 years ago. But that was a lot of work. It took, 2 different flights, and it was really because these construction companies wanted the business, right, from the hospital. So I'm going to kind of start there. Is those of you who are doing, events, whether it's a golf outing or a typical, a gala or whatever, are you raising at least after? When I say raise, I say after costs, right? That's what we're talking about, because some of you met Mogan David when he was still doing fundraising for SPI, and when he first took it over, when his son was in kindergarten or first grade, they were losing money because they weren't taking into the cost off of what they were bringing in, right? And by the time he was done, they were netting after costs, $100,000. But it took 9 years to get to that. For those of you, are you netting at least 25,000? I guess with your events, okay. So you are in St. James, okay. And Amy, I'm sure you guys. Oh, here comes somebody else. Here comes Julie. You guys are too. But Aaron, you're smiling. Aaron's event, and again, Aaron's got a nice event in that. In Seymour, there's other things going on in Seymour, but I mean, their event is the event to go to. So if you want to go, you have to get on a corporate table, right? And that's how it was when I went there, Aaron. Is it still the same case?
Yes, I have 2 tables of individuals, but I have a waiting list to go. And we have 600 people in a waiting list. So
600 people. Okay,
yeah.
Very good. Thank
Wow.
you. Hi, Julie.
Hi. The computer was updating when I got in here from a meeting.
And that's usually what happens. Or Zoom decides to update, right?
Yes. So good morning, everybody.
Well, what I'm kind of looking for, and we're in a different situation than a lot of you, because we're a elementary school that we're on the poor side of Fort Wayne. There's not a lot of money here. We've had our fundraising dinner. We've gone from auction to just having the fundraising dinner and a speaker. I'll tell you, we don't make much money off of it. I mean, we do well as far as the SGOs and just giving to the school, but we just don't have, we're lucky if, I mean, this last year we went from 75 last year ago to about 100 this time. We feel that maybe we need to do something different, but we just have a poor clientele in our school. So trying to do fundraising is a problem, is an issue. We have some great people who have helped our school out tremendously. And without them, our school would not be. But to try and do these dinners, an auction type thing, we're not even going to we won't get our parents at all because they can't afford that. So I'm just looking for some ideas.
Barb is what, kind of like a mission school, right? I mean, you are
right
on our south side of town. All your kids are utilizing, even before the rule change, you're utilizing choice, right?
Right.
And SGOs and things. So you're wondering, having an event in your neighborhood probably doesn't make sense, is what you're saying.
No. Right? Well, we've had it at the Grand Wayne Center the last 2 years.
Okay, so that's downtown. Okay.
Yeah. So, but we show off our students, and we have to provide transportation for them down there. We show off our students and stuff, and it's a big dinner, but we just don't get the response isn't there. And I don't know if any of you are acquainted with Lutheran Social Services in Fort Wayne. Their fundraiser is more of a snacky thing, and they show off, but it was in the park, and it was kind of more informal, that they didn't have to come all dressed up and stuff, which for our families probably would be more of an answer. But I'm not sure they would be able to fund us money because they can barely pay for what they have. So
my sister-in-law did Catholic school auctions. I'm trying to think of the Catholic, so they live up in the northern part of the state that they were at, and I remember we kind of took their lead at St. James because we hadn't even started doing it yet. And I started asking her questions, and I'll never get, she said, you don't want your parents at your seats. That's not who you want. You want the community or other people.
Right.
Because no parents have money. It seems like they're too busy trying to
Right.
follow their kids. But I don't know, maybe does it help if you go outside of and go to corporate, or are there benefactors in the community that want to just support parochial school education?
And that's about what we get.
Yeah, okay.
Is the benefactors, but our school is not, we're coming along and our enrollment's improving and we're getting better, but it's just, we're just looking to try and see if we can get more people involved and coming to those things, and doing the sit down dinner with speaker doesn't seem to be drawing people in. And I get that. I understand that. So we're just trying to look for ideas.
You need John to come speak.
You want people to show up. You don't want me to.
You're fun to listen to.
Well, you know what? I will tell you, Lutheran South is an association of 4 churches, right? And
Right.
when I started with the partnership, it was the 4 member churches brought people. I came and talked about the SGO right early on. Over time, those 4 churches are barely supporting
Right.
the school anymore. And
There's
so
only, out of our 162 students, there are only about 8 of them that belong to those churches.
So it sounds like Barb is saying, how do they reach that, what I like to call the second level? They're Lutheran, they're long-term Lutherans probably. They see the need for Lutheran education in an area that is not really any longer Lutheran, right? I mean,
Right.
it's a neighborhood that is a whole lot different than what it was 20 years ago, right? So anyone else have any ideas about how they could get different people, or maybe it's a different format, like you said. Maybe it's not an auction rubber chicken thing. Maybe it's anyone else have any thoughts on that?
And we're willing to go outside the box and try something new. Our principal this year is new and she's willing to try anything. So it's just coming up with an idea. And I haven't been, my husband's been in fundraising a lot longer. I haven't been. So.
Do you have a very good alumni base around you?
No. Although we do get some from our alumni.
Because I think it would be cool to maybe something like that, like it almost being a mission school type thing, is to try to connect some of your alumni families, not even your alum, because sometimes alum don't get it, but their families got it. They put their kids through it. So maybe try to connect some sort of thing between those alumni families and adopt a family type thing, adopt a student type thing. And then I think you could do some sort of, I don't know if you wanted an event. I do think an advantage of events is it builds relationships. So I don't think it's all about money. I think you do have to balance how much money you're bringing in according to the time you're spending on it, time and energy on it. But I think when it's you have to have relationships to get donors. So I do think that that's important. And that's where I do think events are very valuable besides the money part of it. But if you did like some sort of adopt a family type concept, then maybe you could have like a Christian comedian come in. So it's like a family type thing, or like a mini carnival or something that's more family oriented where those people could come,
Right.
Just show off your kids. I do think that's important, that you show off your kids. But I know that was our focus with our stuff right now, is our focus is to get those alumni families back involved. They loved Lutheran High when their kids were here. So we're trying to get those families back involved, not just the alum.
Right.
Because the families are still here. The alum might be in a different state, but the families are still here.
Right.
But I think you
Okay.
could send, if you adopt a family, those kids could send a Valentine card to that family that's adopted them. They could send an Easter card. Like there could be a lot of interconnections at a very low cost, I would think.
Okay.
Just an idea thrown out there. I don't know how to
No,
make
that's
it all
fine.
happen, but
That's fine.
That's a good idea. I mean,
Yep.
the adopt a family part and the alumni family. Hey, Scott, welcome. We were talking bad about you until you showed up. So
hey, I'm used to that, so that's all good. Must be I'm doing something right. Sorry.
Any other ideas for Barb? Because you think about it, because now, but Barb's school has been around for a few years, but really, Kathy and Aaron, even though you're high schools, you haven't been around where you have old alumni yet, right? So that alumni family is a good way to look at it, right? It's the grandparents and the parents and who see the benefit, because maybe your alumni aren't quite that long in the tooth yet, as they say. And so Barb, yeah, it's how can we connect your kids to the community, and something somebody said is so true. This is a fundraiser, right? And so as much as you want all your families there, your church, your school families, they're not the ones with any money, right? I mean, they're paying
Right.
tuition, and so you want people who see the value of your school, see the value of having a Christian education in Fort Wayne, the south side of town, right? And so how do you build that? Yeah, and I like. And the one thing is sometimes groups just don't respond to auction items. There's a certain age group of people who are trying to get rid of their stuff. They don't want more stuff, right? And sometimes the time and energy involved in getting auctioned is really sometimes isn't worth it. Kathy, I like how you said was that it's not just about the money, right? If you think those who take the time to come to your event is almost like a major gift prospect, right? Is how can you connect with them and have the conversation go on later, right?
right. Yeah. And it's like for us, it's also, it sounds weird, but it's important it's a great way to update their contact information. Since all of our communication, like we don't have their cell phone number or whatever, the case may be. It's been a great way to do that too. So, but and then obviously you strategically place people where they're supposed to be, so the right people talk to them and that kind of stuff. So
Okay.
I don't have 600 people on a waiting list, so I don't quite have it figured out as Trinity does down there. I haven't figured out how to sell manure to my people either, but if I figure that out, I'm telling you.
Several 50-pound bags of chicken manure on the auction. So.
And you know what? We're joking about that, but is Aaron, your auction people know who's coming and what they're looking for? And so, I mean, and at Woodburn Lutheran up here in Northeast Indiana, they're raising over $100,000 every year, and it's in a barn. It is literally in somebody's barn, and they had to do it.
That barn is unbelievable.
Yeah. It is the size of a football field, folks. Okay, but it is a barn. And that they have to do it early September so they can get ready for harvest time after the auction, right? They can't do it any later because they won't be able to get all their equipment out and everything. So for them, that's what works, right? And
but that school gets it because pies and cakes go for $800 a piece.
Ask Amy about
that. They get it.
I heard at St. John Emmanuel you had some highfalutin pies.
We had a couple that went for $1,200.
Wow,
that's amazing. But again, you have to know your crowd, right? I mean, you weren't getting $1,200 pies 4 years ago, were you, Amy? Or maybe
no.
Right? And Woodburn, what I started to say was Woodburn is selling cans of Grable chicken, which are made up here in Grable, but I mean, the owner or something must be connected with them. They just sell cans of chicken, and people will bid it up because they've now turned the corner of I'm here to buy a $20 gift card for $40, right? Not can I buy it for $10, which is right. There's that point where you get people to finally turn. Hey, Mark, welcome. We can stop talking about Mark now too. He's here. Okay.
Good
I was
deal.
gonna say, Aaron, so Hulda Gerker's pie, of course, down there, the Trinity auction always was a huge thing. So what, now that she's with Jesus, will there be a Hulda's pie?
No, we don't have Hulda's pie, and we had Melba Klosterman's pie, and she passed away, but her granddaughter made one a couple years ago that went just as well using her secret recipe. She's in college now, so I'm hoping when she gets home, we can get her back involved.
Secret pies. I'm hearing a common theme here.
Coconut cream.
Homegrown Lutheran bread pies need to be made for our cakes and things. Okay. And I think Morgan, later after this call, I'm going to get more details on your point system. I'm really interested in learning more about how your school does that. So, okay, so Barb, hopefully you'll get some more ideas. But I think what hopefully you're hearing is, how can we look outside of the typical rubber chicken dinner auction, right? And if you guys feel like that just come and give isn't as effective anymore, now it's, is it I know Cross Connections, Barb used to do a Christian comedian every year, and they had a good turnout. And I'm also hearing still you have to promote your kids, right? Because I know, for example, Barb and her husband fell in love after retirement with Lutheran South because of the kids. They were, you guys were sub-teaching, right? And just say what a great school this is, again, versus the perception of what some people have of Lutheran South. So how do you share that love, that perception that you guys have with the greater community, right? And that's what you got to look for. How about committees? How important are having a committee, or is everybody on this call the one who does it all? So okay, how about you, Aaron? Is there an ongoing committee that kind of runs your auction, or?
I have volunteer parents that make up a committee. I don't have anyone else here in the building.
Okay.
I have kind of shrunk it down a little bit. It started to get to be a kind of a big social club that enjoyed their time together, and we would have meetings, just have meetings. Yeah. So we're down to probably, there's about 7 of us that are the core of that. And I mean, they're volunteers, so they do what they can. And then, but I wouldn't be able to pull it off without them.
Are they parents or former parents, or parents of former students, or?
Yes. One are former, their daughter graduated 2 years ago, and then everyone else currently has students in the building.
Okay.
We have a committee of 5. I have a 6th and 7th grader here at the school, and then the other committee members all have 3rd grader below kids. So it was really good for us, because last year we lost 2 of our committee members because they had kids that are now in high school. So now we have younger parents that are on the committee that are going to help us hopefully for the next 7-8 years.
Yeah, that's good to get some of those longer term people that can kind of build some stability in what you're doing. How about you, Morgan? Do you guys, is it a committee, or? Yeah.
Julie knows a lot about it. She's helped. I have never really helped. I do the volunteering the day of.
Okay.
But yes, we have a committee, and it's made up of parents, past parents, grandparents. There's kind of like a core group family, right, Julie, that does a lot of this. We're not as fortunate like Trinity to have all of those feeder schools and strong Lutheran church on every corner. We are in middle of a Catholic city. So
Yes.
And when I grew up at Emmanuel Lutheran, I was used to that. I come up here, I didn't even know our Lutheran school existed. So that was the hard part, because I came up from strong Lutheran, everybody pitches in, and now it's just us. So
wait a minute, hold on 1 second here.
Yes, you were my teacher, Mark was my teacher.
Your twin sister Megan, right?
Yes, Megan's my twin, and Aaron was a year ahead of me in school. So I'm like, I see a 4 from Jackson County here. So
so nice to see you, Morgan.
Yeah, good to see you. That's where I'm like, all 4 of my kids attend, and then this is my first year in the admissions and marketing position. So going back to where my degree actually stands, I taught preschool for 5 years until my kids were through.
Yeah, I convinced her when I was early childhood director to come teach preschool for me.
That's
And
the only way
then-
I could afford it.
I
with
know,
4
and
kids.
then we both like morphed into new roles this year together.
So, but our auction has a committee and they meet every week. And then I help push out communication and that kind of stuff. But it's a lot of community involvement. Checks come in every week to support the auction. It's a lot of parent groundwork.
So Scott, does that make you feel old?
Well, I was just thinking, Mark and I both, like, two of our former students were on this meeting. It's like, man, you know, well, and of course I've got like former students who now their kids are in our school here at St. Peter's, which makes me feel really old. It's, you know, second generation, and a few more years from now it'll be third generation even.
But isn't that the best part, Scott? To
It
see
is.
all that come. I mean, that's the best part of my job is to see those families, those kids come through with their own kids. We did
I know
something
I
right.
see more people here that are attending the school.
Yeah.
So like
Well-
Janelle Thompson,
Mhm.
her children attend the school, like a lot of the, you know, Lutheran Jackson County roots.
Oh yeah, well, and our latest pastor that we just called is Adam Rodriguez, you know, so
Oh.
I taught him sixth grade, and so now he's one of our pastors here, which again,
Great.
Wow.
just look at the gray beard though, and it kind of, yeah, you can tell how old I really am.
Yeah, see, yeah, right here.
Well, to me, that's encouraging that the families are still staying within their schools. The school location may change, right? But it's still, right?
Yeah, honestly, it's very encouraging, and I think, and for this topic even, you think, Kathy, you're talking about alumni events where you maybe aren't raising that much money, but it's just good to get them connected, right? And I think not everybody, but most people who graduate from our Lutheran schools have really fond memories of their experiences. And I mean, that's why Morgan and Aaron, you're still, I mean, not only are your kids in Lutheran schools, but actually employed now by a Lutheran school. And as a side note, Mark and I have talked about this with such a shortage of teachers and, church workers. Well, I think that it all starts with helping them to have positive experiences when they're in our schools. If they have a crappy experience, there's no way that they're going to want to, do that for a career. So.
Kind of feeling relieved right now, aren't you, Scott? That's why I am. I'm just looking at this and thinking, whew, okay, didn't screw that up too bad.
Well, and I'm glad that Morgan, that we all have recovered from the cheerleading tryout debacle. Good Lord.
Oh man, middle school is traumatizing, no matter where you're at.
Well, I guess that, forgiveness is there, so I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Wasn't my fault.
I get it. When you have a twin, things become a little bit difficult.
That's right.
Yeah.
Competition gets worse, right? Donald put something up here. He says the recommendations he's received about auction items is to try and get experiences and not just stuff. People seem to be more interested in doing things right now. Is anyone else experiencing that? Do you hear more people just want to do stuff rather than get stuff? What do you think?
Definitely seems to be the case for the younger families, the younger couples. They're not looking to get stuff. I can relate with my boys. They don't care about getting stuff either, but if you can put an activity, you can put a memory into the bidding war, that will attract a lot of attention. I think we saw that last, Amy, didn't we? We kind of saw that at St. John Emmanuel too, right? Where those kinds of things like a pub crawl and things like that, man, he had whole tables going crazy over stuff like that. So it really seems to be the draw right now.
I bought the tickets to the Holiday World.
Yeah, my kids go to St. John Sowers here south of Seymour, and we just had an auction 2-3 weekends ago, and $260,000 they made.
Oh my heavens.
Whoa.
That's a tiny school.
Sowers
In the
made how much
I
was
wasn't
that?
involved. It wasn't me.
St. John
$260,000.
Sowers made $260,000.
Yeah,
Wow.
Okay, so how much? So the real question then becomes, how much turkey manure was out there?
there was no manure at that one, believe it or not. Yeah, we had
Did you
Yeah.
have quilts and all of that kind of
We
stuff?
had guns that went for
There you
crazy
go.
high amount. We have a local gun manufacturer that made custom rifles in our school colors, and
Oh, really?
3 of those, 2 of them went over $7,000 each, and then
Oh my
the third one
God.
went for 5,000. And I mean, we had people standing up saying, "Add this to the auction," like as it was going on. So it was just crazy.
Was it a silent auction or like a regular
Both,
auction? Or both?
live and silent. We had dinner at Pewter Hall. But like one thing that went crazy well is we have a congregation member who bought an old school bus, and he hauls people around. And they got a couple gift cards to the local pubs and things, and that went for $6,800 to just be able to drive
Wow.
around in a bus and go to Poplar Street, so it was a lot of
Let's say
experience.
local pubs,
St.
like
John
both of them?
Sours, $260,000.
Yeah.
It's the country Lutherans that do it right.
Wow.
I mean, I'd hate to know what the beer tab was at the end of the night too. But
Hopefully you had a sponsor.
yeah, that was in my bucket.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Wow.
Now,
Yeah.
is that usual for them, Aaron? I mean, do they always raise that kind of? I mean,
No, they do it about every 3 years. And
Oh,
so,
really? They don't do it every year?
yeah,
That's
they don't do it every year. Yeah. So it's about every 3 years, and that's probably double what we did last time.
Wow.
And that is all parent volunteers run that. There's nobody from the school that does that. So now I get to follow that up in 2 weeks and
Yeah.
try to raise more here.
You
that's
can't
fun.
let Sours outdo you, right? So
Right. No, I have to win.
that's fantastic. Wow. Well, Scott, we'll have to connect with those leaders and see what their secret sauce is. Other than offering guns, apparently. That seems to be guns and bread. That sounds like a movie or something, right?
There was
Guns
a
and
mystery
desserts.
suitcase.
Well,
They didn't tell anybody what was in it. So I guess this mystery suitcase that it went for like $1,700. Like people were just ready
mystery
to give them money.
suitcase.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's a good idea.
So, it's interesting because I just had a conversation here with our leadership team and, kind of advanced planning. I'm like, I need to know, are we going to do some sort of gala auction event or not? Are we or are we not? It's like, well, we're not sure yet. We need to, okay. It's like, if I tell them, hey, Little St. John Sours just raised $268,000, I bet that will get their attention a little bit.
Mhm.
Now it is also just as an observation here too, like for us, like our big extra fundraiser is our SGO. I mean, we're doing great with the SGO, but we don't do a single event that raises money. And so, I mean, like for Sours, maybe their SGO isn't so hot, but their this auction, that's unbelievable. Crazy.
But Scott, that's a really good idea. Maybe your people don't respond. I mean, it's interesting up here in Northeast Indiana, some of our larger schools don't do very well with their auctions because their people don't need stuff. They just want to come together, right? And finding the right mix. And think Holy Cross in Fort Wayne, they finally did away with the whole dinner auction kind of thing, and it's more of a gathering. And they've done better than they ever have. They're still not at $260,000, but it's finding. And so, Scott, maybe in your area, it's more one-on-one support, specific, support scholarships, right? The SGO, that's what people are looking for. I mean, is there anybody else in town, Scott, that's doing an auction? Any other nonprofits, like the Catholic school or the YMCA or anything like that?
I know ABC Stewart is working on one because they've asked me some questions in Columbus, but
Funny, they asked me questions too, Aaron. But they have a huge project that they need to embark in, and I don't know if that's going to happen or not for them. But yeah, no, I'm not aware of like any other school is doing auction, but like Camp Lakeview does a big auction around here, and of course Trinity is not that far away. Blue High is not that far away, but like from a competition standpoint, I mean, certainly if Sours and Trinity can both do auctions in the same year, I mean, Aaron, your auction is going to raise $300,000. It is, at least, I mean, over $500,000 between two schools that are 15 miles apart. I mean, that's pretty crazy. I'm sure you see that up in Fort Wayne too. I mean, with some of the schools that have successful auctions.
the lessons there. I mean, John's preached this for as long as I've known John. Phil Meinson said the same thing. People are going to give to what they want to give. And we, you know, instead of us putting the parameters on it, just let God take it wherever he wants. And the Lutheran Schools Partnership is a great example of that. You know, that's not even one school against the other. That's a separate RSO that has done really, really well in our years of growing our annual fundraiser. But I don't think it steals any money away. I mean, Amy up in St. John Emmanuel is great example of that. One just continues to grow and grow. So we're not seeing anybody losing any money from our organization having a fundraiser. Rather, we can actually look around and you can probably see one after another. People are just seeing opportunities to be able to give.
Well, you know, and it's interesting too. I think, you know, here at St. Peter's, we're seeing right now, at least in the last 2 years, a little bit of a decline in our offerings in our church, but we're seeing like our SGO increasing hugely. And now this year too, we kind of advertised our special donor buckets, you know, fueling the mission is what we're calling it. And we had great response from that. I mean, over $200,000 came in just with special gifts above and beyond. And so that might be a trend where people are, they like to give to a special thing, maybe not so much to the church in the way that they used to, but special events or special programs.
Or it was always there and now we're finally given the opportunities.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think it's about knowing your people and creating those opportunities for them to give, like what you said, Mark. I think I mean, I've gone to, obviously when I go to auctions now, I'm looking at it totally different than I used to.
Right.
You do. But I mean, there's things that Camp Lakeview does that would not work for Indianapolis Lutheran, even though they do it literally 15 minutes away from our school, you know, and there's a lot of indie people there. There's things that Concordia Fort Wayne does that would not work with our people. So it's just interesting. And I think you've got to know your people and figure that out. I think that's just a huge thing. Although I'm telling you, if I figure out how to sell manure, I'm selling manure. But like there's, you know, I mean, there's just different things that you have to figure out though on that, you know, if to create those opportunities. I think people want to give, but they need to know what options are there.
Mm-hmm. And I think, yeah, what somebody said here is, you do have to figure out, you have to show people what the need is, right? This is what we need. This is how you're going to, right? Donors want to know how we're going to make an impact. I know Phil Meisen and the gang at the LCMS Foundation will say about a third of the people will give to give, a third of the people want a project, and a third of the people want endowment. I think that third's much higher for the project part. People want to know, hi, Ashley, welcome. I think people want to know I'm going to be impactful this way, where if I bid on this, I'm going to be providing X number of scholarships. And that's where, Scott, maybe your people just want to know, and they get to save half of it right on their taxes, but they know that they're going to be providing scholarships. And so Barb, going back to your question, I'm wondering if somehow, how do you tie it into funding scholarship for these kids who you're seeing are doing fantastic here that need more help? Don't come and bid on something, but come and support, you know, adopt a child without sharing names maybe and sharing specifics, but this family needs $5,000 next year to come here. Who's going to do it? You know, that kind of thing. And really connecting people. Well, hello, Ashley. Thanks for coming. We'll stop talking bad about you too, now that you're late. Ashley's down in Evansville, everyone. So now you have an event coming up here in a month or two. Is that right?
End of April. Yes,
End of
same
April.
time as Learn and Lead, unfortunately, or
That's
a day
right,
after
that's right.
Learn and Lead.
So it's too bad you're going to miss your events. You can come to Learn and Lead, right?
Yeah, I wish. I do actually have a great committee this year. Last year, I was pretty much doing it alone with my office staff for our auction. But I have a good committee that I put together that will be able to take on a lot of the prep work. So that's nice.
All right, good. Yeah, we were talking about the importance of committees, so one person's not doing it all. And just so for continuity, I know I'm worried about SPI now that Mogan David isn't there to run it anymore. Do they have the next generation, so to speak, of auction planners to help out, right? But I'm sure they'll do fine because he created a culture of giving, right? That culture of philanthropy, that people are $40 for the $20 gun, right? Down at Seymour. That still blew me away, literally and figuratively. That's fantastic though. But that just shows, if asked, it's kind of like pray and let the Holy Spirit do the work. Put it out there and let the people tell you what they want to do, right? And that's what it comes down to, is that we for those who are unfamiliar with what Mark was saying, the Lutheran Schools Partnership started an event, and we were really concerned that we would be, fishing in the same pond, so to speak, as our other, 19 schools. And so we purposely said, we're not going to do an auction. We're not going to, it's just going to be, we highlight a speaker and we give the opportunity to give. And we've been blown away with, the amount of money that people donated. Because again, it comes true. I think it was Jacob Pennekamp, who's at Concordia High School now, that says donors are like a pair of jeans, right? They give from one pocket for their tie, they give from another pocket to this auction, they give from this pocket to the SGO. We can't assume for our donors, and the donors continually surprise us. I mean, goodness sakes, in the environment that we just had in 2022, all of our schools together, you guys raised $5 million, by far a record. We haven't really promoted that yet, but so just think if it was in a normal year, how much money could have been raised. And it seems like auctions are hitting it out of the park lately. I mean, I keep hearing these kind of numbers because people are wanting to get back together. They're like, let's get back to business and help our school. And at St. James, you truly are the only Lutheran game in town. I think that would be a plus. Like, hey, no Hail Marys here. Come and support, the 95 Theses, or some kind of fun stuff. But hopefully that's a plus for you guys. In fact, now that you guys say it, we had our day at the State House, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yep.
We
had a family that was from St. James,
Mhm.
and I think their dad said how much he loves your auction. I was like, oh, okay. So
Yeah. Now
so-
we use that writing on a postcard, and I put SGO's logo on it, and I sent it out to our past, Julie sent it
Yeah.
out to our past
Alumni.
donors, and I put, I think I sent you that
You did.
design.
It was
And I said,
fantastic.
you make this happen. And then on the back, it was information on the tax credit, because we pushed that out by the end of the year. So, and just to donate to the SGO and how to do that. And so I used his writing in some of our promotions just because, he was proud of it. So why not use it? So,
and again, it's showing, and I'm going to say showing off your product, right? Here's one of our student families, why he loves our school, and why we need your help to get other kids into our school, right?
and so I wrote a press release, and it went out to the local newspaper, and they picked it up as a story, and, that kind of thing. And it's just, people don't really know about us because we are so saturated with Catholic around here, because we don't have the Lutheran high school to go to. They have the Catholic high school. So they have a lot of feeder schools. It's a whole school system. And, people just really don't know about us. So that's what my job is, to try to let people know we're here. So
Morgan,
we're
maybe
the-
your focus should be on Reformation.
Yes,
Yeah.
we're gonna bring
we
back.
were just talking about the
Catholics are
Marty party.
celebrating that.
We're gonna do. We were talking about. I wanted to create an alumni event, and so a couple years ago, when we had the restoration of our sanctuary, we held a Marty party. And
Party.
Yeah.
a Marty party, and it was in October, and we had bonfires, and we had a microbrewery, and food and stuff, and so everybody loved it. But we've not done it again since then. So I'm going to co-opt that and steal it, and we're going to do that and create an alumni event and bring that back. So we talk about all the different parochial schools. We're actually the longest running school in the county. We're older than Purdue
Really?
University by 19 years, and people don't know about us.
No.
Well, that's what Morgan's job is, so people will
Yep.
know about you, right?
Yep, I've
Oh my
advocated for that position for years. And she's
Well,
so
we're
much more
trying.
talented than I was.
Trying. But we are we have a lot of students from Jackson County that come up to Purdue, but we also have, ULU, so University Lutheran is across the Bridge, and then, us, and then we have a couple other Lutheran churches. And so I've started to go visit them because, we're attached to the church here at St. James. And so we're trying to build relationships also, and just being present in front of their congregations. So that's what I've been doing the last month.
That's great. All right. Well, this has been some great discussion. We still got some time. Anyone else have any questions right now for the group that they had, or Barb, did something else pop up that you wish you could have asked? So, Scott, you're not doing an event yet. You're just deciding whether or not you're going to. Is that right?
So last year, we resurrected our fall fair. We did that the last Saturday in October. And it was a great event. I mean, everyone who was there loved it. And, but there really wasn't the fundraising component to it. And so, of course, there's a challenge for me being the development guy. Will raise money, raise money. And why are you in charge of this event if it's not a fundraiser? Our alumni committee is the group that actually sponsored the event, and that's why we have it. So it was a response to our alumni's request, basically. And since I work with our alumni, that's why it fell under me. But we need to do something more. I mean, we're blessed with a pretty good financial situation here at St. Peter's, but we have seen a shift in how people give. And so providing more opportunities for people to give outside of the offering plate are really important for us. And, it's interesting, a lot of these meetings, I mean, Ashley, you're not working with a church necessarily. It's, you have schools, Aaron, you have a school, Kathy, you have a school. I don't know, Julie and Morgan, how much connection you have actually with your church, but for me, like my church role is really important, and so it's just trying to figure out how to balance everything and honestly, and who to get permission from to do stuff.
Yes. Morgan and we're struggling with some of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So,
it's like
the health of
here.
our school, we're trying to work. I'm trying to focus on healthy enrollment. Like that's what I bring to the game, and surveys, and trying to work from the inside out. Right now, our enrollment should be booming because of SGO and vouchers, and we're struggling with that. And, and I think it comes from within and trying to get us into a healthy place again. And, so I'm trying to promote the good things. So it's hard.
I think with COVID, a lot of things were put on hold for a while. One of the things that the principal and I are going to try and do now is have what we call pastries for pastors, since we have so few of our members go, so few of our students are members of our churches, so that we get the pastors involved. And then we want to go to their churches and set up a table to say, hey, you have students at our school, would you think about sending your kids to our school, type of thing, just to put our name and our face out there. I had a lady walk in this morning, just 20 minutes before I got on, who just, I see there's a school back here, and probably is going to send a third grader next year. So just getting our face out there. And I think with COVID, we kind of put everything on hold. And so we're going to try that and see if that's going to work for us. We're just trying to get our face out there more, because you can't see our school real well from the road. We have a sign, but it's old and we need to update it, so I think that's the biggest thing, is just getting your name out there. And we're going to try that and see if that works. I don't know.
It seems like, maybe like in the business world, you hear the term touch points. Like how many touch points do we offer people to get connected or learn about our school or our church? You have to keep throwing stuff out there, it seems. And, you'll never hit a home run if you don't swing the bat. I mean, you gotta take some swings,
Right.
Take risks for the kingdom, another way of looking at it.
We just got a new sign quoted for 9th Street because nobody knows we're a school. They think we're a church, and it's like around 60 grand.
Oh, for electronic sign with all
Yes,
the
like
bells and
everybody
whistles?
else around here has, and I want to beat the Catholic school in the same road. That's my goal.
Nice. So, so Morgan, so here in Columbus, there's a St. Bartholomew Catholic school, and they're having some struggles with leadership and things. And this last year, we probably had a dozen kids from St. B's who enrolled in our school. And two of their teachers are actually here now in our school, and one of them has actually become a Lutheran, has taken the classes, and his wife also. And so,
One for the team. All right.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
literally the next block down.
that's right. And it's helpful to remind people, hey, Martin Luther was Catholic too. So there you go.
That's what my kids go. My kids participate in all the Catholic sports because football, travel baseball, they'll probably eventually go to the Catholic high school, and they pray to Mary before every sporting event. And I asked Wyatt, I said, Wyatt, so what do you do? And he's like, I just say the Lord's Prayer. Okay.
When in doubt.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Hey,
Well,
John,
and Barb, you might want to mention that you guys are planning on starting a second kindergarten now. So, I mean, your enrollment is growing, right? And so that's another
Yes,
message.
it
How do
is.
you get that out, right?
Yeah, we just took two new kids in this week. So our enrollment's up over last year, which I'm excited about.
So how do you get people to hear about that? I know Donald said he's been working with his chamber and the Rotary to get the name out there more. So that's something to consider. I mean, there's lots of those service organizations out there that are always looking for speakers, and things. And and Kathy says you guys are going to be joining the Indianapolis Chamber. I think that's a good part. I mean, we have to be part of the civil society, right? And part of that is being good citizens, right? And participating in things like that and seeing the value of the cost.
We've been part of the chambers of the smaller towns around here, but we're part of Marion County. We should be a part of that chamber, so that's what we're going to try. There's a lot of options there. It's just a matter if you take advantage of them.
Yeah, Ashley says that she's trying different things too. That's good to hear that you guys are you see their role, because to me, advancement, right, is not just fundraising, it's marketing, it's enrollment, it's the message, right? You're owning the relationships and the messaging. And I'm hearing a lot of talk about Scott, about alumni. And maybe that should be a future topic that we all at a 12 at 12 sometime is engaging with alumni. I did a series of posts on that, but goodness, Mark, how long ago was it? 8 years ago, but it's probably still fairly up to date, but just how important alumni are. I mean, goodness sakes, I had no idea St. James has that kind of alumni. And I know I've been reading the history of the Lutheran, of the LCMS schools, and Sowers is like one of the original churches of the synod. And here they're still around, and they're raising $260,000. So, I mean,
we did a Lutheran lineage for our Lutheran Schools Week, and my grandpa and great grandpa were from Sowers. So yeah.
Lutheran lineage, I like that.
Yeah.
I'll write that one down.
That was a neat thing.
We built a family tree, and each leaf was a different color of generation. And so my kids were 4 generations, and so they got a special color, and then they listed who went where. And so me and my dad went to Emmanuel, his dad went to Sowers, and so that was listed. But we also celebrated the first generations because now they're part of our family tree too. So we kind of celebrated that. That's still up in our cafeteria. Celebrating Lutheran schools, because
I like that.
We do. Yeah.
Lutheran lineage. Okay. I guess I asked before, but I didn't get another chance. Anyone else have a question or anything for the group?
I do.
Okay, go
Sorry,
ahead.
I'm late, everyone. I was in a regional choice conference meeting. I've been throwing around the idea when I was hired. Obviously, my role is Director of Development and Admissions down at Evansville Lutheran School. And so I'm in charge of raising funds for the school and also raising and increasing enrollment for the school. But one of their goals was we have 2 churches that are part of the association, and then probably 5 total in the area that have families that could be attending. One of those churches in particular has many, many kids, and we probably only have 3 or 4 that attend the school. So I've been throwing around, I've gone to speak at the school, and they know my face, but I've been throwing around having parent advocates being ones to speak at the churches, because those families know those parents. They already have a relationship there. Not that I would not do it or not go speak at those churches, but just having parents kind of share an event that's going on or an opportunity about ELS. I mean, just like National Lutheran Schools Week, we celebrated and did many different activities as well. So having that parent just talk about what the students did or what their child got to do, I feel like that might be a little bit more relationship based with some of those families. But I haven't taken steps forward. I have some parents in mind that I think would serve really well. They have that kind of personality. But just wanted to get some thoughts on that, if anyone's doing that already, or if you have any ideas of maybe as I'm talking about it, you have an idea of what could work better, things like that.
We don't have anything like that in an official capacity, but we just have rolling enrollment, so it's always open. And we already have 46 freshmen enrolled for next year, which is crazy. And I think a lot of it is due to a particular family. They have twin daughters in Brownstown. And this year we have 9 out of the 10 students from that elementary school coming here. And that's not a typical thing. And I think it's because they've been very vocal from the beginning of saying, this is where our kids are going. We support Trinity. This is why. And so there's been a lot of people to follow them that way. So when you can get people that are outspoken, and then the friendships and girls that they've played sports with and things, it's just kind of all fallen into place.
Wow, and not going to Brownstown.
Right? When
wow.
Lutheran Central is across the street from Brownstown High School, so that's a big deal.
Yeah. The Wishmeyers, is that who you're?
Well, their
Warren's
mom was a Wishmeyer.
Yeah. Well, okay, Warren's, yeah.
Yep.
But I think what you're saying is I'm hearing relationships are key. And I think, Ashley, that idea of a parent advocate is a really good idea, because yeah, they'll come and listen to you, but you got to talk good about the school. But if you've got a family that says, yeah, you know what, our 3 kids went through there, or our kids are there right now, this is some of the fun things we're doing, that's going to be, I know we had a school up here that they doubled their enrollment literally one year because they had a couple parent advocates that went out and talked about it to other people in the community, at the local soccer game, they're talking about this, and they came up with good logo wear at the time, and but they took ownership in it. And I'll tell you guys, nothing's more powerful than a mom who says my kids are doing great at the school, right? I mean, literally, there is nothing better than that. So if you can harness that somehow,
right,
I think that's just fantastic.
Well, we've had great success in that in the community. We have Facebook moms groups in the Evansville and Newburgh area. And I don't know how many, on one of our questionnaires, it says, how did you hear about ELS? And I don't know how many of them say Facebook moms group, because it started out as one mom. Anytime anyone posted and said, we're looking into private education, but we're just not really sure where to start, we had one mom that was like on it, looking for those posts, and had like this pre-written little paragraph that she would put in there, and she'd always tag me in those posts so then I could reach out also. But since then, now we have like 6 or 7 moms that whenever they see those will also go on and write a little blurb about how much they love the school and how their child is doing. So we're seeing good success with that in the community. So trying to harness that now also to our Lutheran schools, or Lutheran churches, specifically that one that has so many young families. just giving them the opportunity to see the school and see it from a parent perspective.
How smart, Ashley, for those people to tag you. Because I mean, it's just like, you're supposed to go to the doctor where you don't make an appointment. You don't make an appointment. When they call you, you make the appointment. You know what I mean? Like, that is so smart that they tag you so you can follow up with them and it's not just a thought in their head. That's smart.
Yeah. Usually I will post a comment behind it and just introduce myself that I'm the development director.
Yeah.
I'll give them my email address and the phone and my phone number, and I will say, feel free to call anytime. I have a kindergartner at the school right now. And then I usually send them a personal message just with some more specific information. And probably 80% of the people that post are following up the next day with a phone call or an email wanting more information.
That's great.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you, Ashley, for that question. I think we got everybody thinking a little bit. Anybody else have any other questions before it's about 12:15 here in our time. I know it's just after 11 o'clock there for you, Ashley. No, so has this been of value to everybody? I mean, should we do this again? Do you want to do it again? I think every month maybe might be too much for everybody, but I mean, I'm thinking at least quarterly to get all of our event people together and spread the word out, because I do think there's so much value in group discussions and something like this. Hey, this is what we did. Hey, this is what that did. But then now you all can follow up with each other, because I'm just wondering, even down the line, about connecting some of you as mentors, kind of to say, hey, this is what I did. This is, someone who's like Scott. You have never done an event management, even though you've been in fundraising. Should we connect you with somebody, or maybe you want to be connected? Maybe Morgan should teach you how to do a few things, right?
Yeah, or Aaron for what's
They can slap you with the ruler like you probably did to them.
They go
probably,
both.
right?
Anyone who's done an auction before, I would learn from, for sure.
I'm just thinking, how can we help each other even outside of these meetings? Because I think there's a lot of value to be gained just from some of the terms I've heard. The Marty Party. I love that idea. I know for the Lutheran Schools Partnership, our event's going to be in October, and we're going to have an Oktoberfest, and we're actually going to brew our own little micro brew that we'll give away or sell, with a label on it and everything from the local brewery. Because it ties in with Lutherans, right? Because our events turn into a Lutheran rally. Well, we tried to expand it beyond the Lutheran community, but they're not coming. The Lutherans are. And we're getting 250 people come that want to support Lutheran education. We're going to give them Lutheran stuff, right? Because again, this is going to be our 3rd or 4th year. So we're still deciding what works, right? And so we're thinking that's probably the route we're going to go for that event. But I'm hearing, it's surprising that Sours is successful only doing it every 3 years, because normally you lose momentum if you don't do it every year. But maybe it's building a pent-up demand maybe for them.
I think there's a little bit of worry about supply of donor items, right? I mean, there's only a pool of so many people to get donations from in this area, and so they don't want to feel that they are overusing that pool, so they let it build back up and people know to look forward to it.
But again, that's what works for them, and they'll probably have a fear of overtaxing their volunteers if they had to do it every year, right? Yeah. Okay.
John.
Yeah.
I appreciated your email also that you sent the other day. Actually, this could have been months ago and I just read it. I don't know. But the one with the calendar year and planning out your events or your mailings. I have kind of struggled with that since I came, because it seemed like we had so much in the springtime, and then fall was just empty. Well, then I tried to remove things around, and now it feels like there's so much in the fall and not a lot in the spring. So if there was an opportunity for people to kind of talk through what their schedule looks like possibly, and when maybe they do an event versus a mailing, or even those touch points that Scott was talking about. Sometimes I struggle with having those opportunities for our donors or our alumni to come in, whether they need to be just a small little get together, or does it have to be this big planned event or things like that? So I think those calendars might be useful to kind of talk through also.
You know, Ashley, that's one thing that we're trying to do here at St. Peter's is one of our team members brought this up maybe a year ago, and like we're looking at major events, not necessarily fundraising events, but just major events. And there, you kind of think about like you think back to math, the sine and the cosine, you know, kind of like, so you got those waves kind of going, and like maybe like on the high point, like every other month they're going to do a somewhat major event or once a quarter. But then you got the low points where you're still doing stuff, but not things that are going to cause major participation from folks. And so because we have our church here, trying to coordinate the church with the school is just really important for us.
Great. Well, great. Thank you all. I think we should at least maybe look at this again in a couple months to see, because some of your events will be over by then, and we can see if you survived. And maybe we do to get, maybe Scott, a future 12 at 12 will just be on events, so we can kind of, because most of the people on this Zoom are also the same people that come to our 12 at 12 on the 12th. And so might as well just make that, Scott, maybe 2 or 3 of our yearly topics will be on event management, and some of the other things, the alumni gatherings, the parent advocate idea, the Facebook moms group, right? All Lutheran lineage, Marty party. I'm hearing some really fun stuff there. And the mystery suitcase. I'm thinking, Mark, maybe we need to do a mystery suitcase. That could be just, what did Mark pack tonight? And you can bid on it, you know, kind of a thing, right?
Isn't that like a reality TV show where people bid on like these huge like shipping crates that have random stuff in there, and there might be $1 million and there might be nothing?
It's like a variance of the let's make a deal. That's what it's going to be coming down to.
And as we go, I noticed, Kathy, that you're doing a golden ticket. I think, was that your event?
We are. Yep, for the first time, we're doing a golden ticket this year.
I know if you, those who aren't familiar with that, the idea is you sell 50 tickets at a certain price, $50 or $100, whatever, and whoever wins. Now, when Mogan David did it, you could take that winning ticket and you get to choose anything out of the live auction. I think for you guys, you got like 4 or 5 things you could choose, right?
Right. It's limited. Like you can't name the gym for that, or you know, like we took those price list type things off that list. But I mean, hopefully we're gonna make $5,000 on an item that we probably would have made $2,000 on, is what we went through and figured out.
Yep, that's the beauty of it.
Yep, experiences are in there, practicalities in there. Yep.
Because people will bid $50 to try to win something that could be, like you said, a higher value, but you guys are guaranteed, if you sell them all, to get
right.
That.
And that's why we made such a line. Like we do a bourbon pull and wine pull, and we sell out within the first hour every year here. And it's like, it goes fast. Like people, we open the doors at 5:30 and people are lined up ready to come in at 5:30 because we do the bourbon pull, wine pull, and we'll do that golden ticket at that time, and they're all limited amounts. So I think that's a huge thing. So we made the amount only 50 because we want to sell out. So I mean, that was a big thing of that. And it's a way, it kind of started though as a way to get that younger generation, those 20, 30-year-olds involved in the live auction. That's kind of where that concept came from. So
and people love it, because I told you, I don't know if I told you this before, but I know Mark knows. I've won the golden ticket twice. I won it 2 years in a row one time.
I'm glad you're not coming.
It's fantastic.
Although I feel like I can't buy one myself if people would say it was rigged.
Well, this was somebody else's auction. Say it wasn't my own auction, but and believe it or not, I didn't choose the most expensive thing. I wanted what I wanted. So you actually will come out ahead even more than you think, because one time I got a shotgun because I always wanted one. Another time I forget what I got. I think I got a bunch of homemade beer or something like that. But it was something I wanted, and I just didn't go for the most expensive thing. But so hopefully that'll work for you. But something else you guys have any questions on that, you can certainly ask Kathy how they chose to do it. But I've started to see the golden ticket pop up a few times more, so I just wanted to mention that to everybody. So, all right, well, good luck and prayers for everybody's events, and we will connect again soon. Okay, and I did record this if anybody wants it, but I think we all showed up to it, so I don't think. But if you want it, let me know. Otherwise, we will see you again soon. Bye.
Great, thanks.
Thanks,
Have
John.
a great
See you,
day.
everybody.